Now, speaking of filing things, you recently filed, along with a number of your colleagues, a lawsuit which actually educated a lot of us. I always thought it was the FAA that required airlines to force their passengers to wear masks. It turns out it's the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, the same group of people that claimed they had the authority to regulate evictions of tenants that didn't pay their rent. The Supreme Court said they didn't, but took their time in doing so. Now you have asked a federal judge to declare that the CDC doesn't have this authority because Congress didn't give it to them. And even if Congress did give it to them, Congress can't delegate away powers that were delegated to it by the Constitution. Tell us about the lawsuit and who's involved, Congressman Massie.
Yeah, so 17 congressmen, one of them is a senator, Senator Rand Paul, and I'm leading this lawsuit, have filed a lawsuit against the CDC. Now, we all know that faceless bureaucrats are the ones who are doing Joe Biden's bidding, but we don't even know sometimes which bureaucracy to file the suit against. But we discovered it is the CDC who claims the imprimatur for implementing this mask mandate on airplanes. And it turns out they're citing the very same statute that you just referenced, that they cited when they claimed they had the power to control state-regulated real estate contracts, i.e. the eviction moratorium. But here's what that statute says. Congress said that the CDC can use fumigation. The CDC can destroy livestock in order to contain, a contagion and other things. Okay, well, the CDC said, well, other things means an eviction moratorium. And the Supreme Court came and shot them down and said, no, if other things doesn't mean anything you want it to mean, it has to be other things like the things that were listed in this statute.
Correct.
And so they've claimed, the CDC claims that other things includes forcing human beings to wear masks. No, the statute gives them authority to destroy livestock and insects. It doesn't give them the authority to treat us like livestock and insects.
Nicely put. I mean, the whole mask thing on the airlines, I mean, it doesn't even have a rational basis because you have to wear the mask when you're sitting there. You don't have to wear the mask when you're eating or drinking, as if the COVID virus knows not to come out of your nose or mouth while you're eating or drinking, but only to come out of your nose or mouth while you're sitting there. The whole thing is preposterous, absurd, degrading, demeaning, and profoundly unconstitutional because each of us owns our own faces and we decide what go on them. Have many or any other governmental entities joined you and Senator Paul in this litigation?
Well, there are 3 lawsuits that I know that are running concurrent with ours. The state of Texas and Representative Beth Van Dyne joined Ken Paxton in a lawsuit. And then we've got our lawsuit, which includes 17 members of Congress. JetBlue airline pilots filed a lawsuit similar to that because they make the pilots wear a mask. I don't want my pilots deprived of oxygen. Anyways, and then, I mean, we're supposed to make sure they have plenty of oxygen, right? The plane, the cabin is supposed to regulate that. In any case, and then just yesterday, Ron DeSantis led 20 other states, I think, in filing a lawsuit as well. Now, here's the significance, Judge. The CDC is supposed to meet again and decide on April 18th whether to, keep this thing going, this mask mandate on airplanes. But the judge in our case has told the DOJ and the CDC to respond to give him their response to our request for an injunction by April 8th. So that means there's somebody at the CDC and the DOJ that's going to have to do something before April 18th. And they may decide, and this is our great hope, that the burden of complying with this lawsuit and the threat of losing this and having in no uncertain terms their power checked may be greater to them than just getting rid of the mask mandate.
Right.
So they may try to make our case moot, which would be okay with me. All I want is for people to not be treated like livestock and insects and to breathe freely again. And if the CDC wants to go into retreat, instead of receive the wrath of a judge who I believe is going to issue an injunction against them, then let's have that.
We'll be watching. Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky, what a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Judge.
Judge Napolitano, thank you for watching Judging Freedom.